Okay, good afternoon. My name is Matt. I'm one of the co-founders at Acceleraate. We're a Zoom CX partner. And I'm joined today by James Adamczuk from Zoom.
Hi, Matt. How you doing?
I'm very good, thanks, James. And I've just returned from Zoomtopia yesterday in San Jose. So I thought it would be great for us to have a bit of a catch up, a bit of a chat about what's been announced. Zoomtopia is a bit like trying to drink from a fire hose. The number of announcements that are made and the amount of innovation and product development that's happening within Zoom, as we've witnessed over the past 12 to 18 months or so, is simply extraordinary. So obviously, with that in mind and having so much information to try and process about what's going on, especially with the ZCX stack and the advancements in Zoom Contact Center, Zoom Virtual Agent, and the AI offerings within Zoom as a whole, thought it might be good to just try and break it down so that people who are interested in the Zoom CX stack have something to refer to here that perhaps makes it a bit easier for them to understand what's been launched and what the benefits are to them.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I mean, I've been with Zoom now just over 12 months, and the pace of development has just been incredible. And I'm sure Matt, as you know, our first fully fledged CX partner here for in Zoom, which is amazing with Acceleraate. You've seen the journey that we've been on, and it's remarkable to think that 12 months ago, not 11 months ago, when we actually launched the product in this region, since then is over 500 new features that have come on board, and it's a remarkable amount of investment and R&D from a Zoom perspective, but also that pace of development, whilst at the same time this listen and innovate. It's actually not rhetoric; it's actually reality, as I guess you saw this week in San Jose.
What 100%, yeah, I'd absolutely echo that sentiment. I think we have many years of experience in the CX and the CCaaS market, and honestly, we've never experienced anything like this. The not just the pace of development, but actually the fact that Zoom delivers on its promises. So, some of the things we'll talk about shortly around what have been announced this week at Zoomtopia. These are things that we were told were going to happen, but in our experience, you believe it when you see it. But Zoom continue to deliver and actually continue to impress and surprise us with the pace of delivery and the level of focus that's been put into the Zoom CX platform over the past, as you say, over the past 11 months or so. The number of features that have been shipped are incredible. But one of the things that also impresses us about Zoom, and we'll touch upon this when we talk about some of the points shortly, is actually how well thought through everything is. And it's, there seems to be real clarity of thought from Zoom's product team and the architecture teams in terms of how things are delivered, which really is about, as I see it now, and some of the announcements that we're just about to come on to, it makes Zoom Contact Center a genuine sort of complete end-to-end solution for contact center operators. And the beauty is that it's all been developed within this single interface, single point of administration. And we know that that can be a major problem for contact center operators with other technologies that actually, yeah, the functionality is there, but setting it up and managing it is a different story. Whereas Zoom has been very smart and very intelligent in the way that this is done. And I'll speak to a couple of those examples as we go through the sort of the features. So I thought what we'd do, because as I say, there was a lot of announcements, right? And we could be here all afternoon, which neither of us probably has time for today. But having said that, I think we can split the announcements into two sections to make them easy to sort of consume and understand. So the two sections are going to be Zoom CX feature launches. So we'll talk to some of the areas that Zoom have announced this week that, in my view, sort of complete the Zoom Contact Center product. And then the second part I really want to touch on is Zoom is really galloping ahead with AI and how Zoom is infusing AI into everything it does. And we've got some really smart examples of that where we can really see huge benefits for Zoom Contact Center customers and Zoom Virtual Agent customers in using this sort of infusion of AI that underpins the whole Zoom platform now, and it has really, really helped it to gallop ahead, way ahead of the competition, in my opinion. So very, very, very exciting announcements.
I love the fact as like industry leaders, you can see that. So, having worked on the product, having been part of the team that launched it here in region, and you can see that that's actually been happening now. So I mean, again, on the first point on the launches piece, you talked around the whole operability and use cases side of things. And I've come from a delivery and agile background, right? And the easy thing to do here is just assume you think you know what people want. And what's really interesting when we look at the way that Zoom develops use cases and the whole software development lifecycle, the teams genuinely want to make sure this works in practice, which is back to your point about having that administration interface. How, once we've deployed this software, how does it grow and learn and help businesses, as the business goes on the journey, the software at the same time can still be on that journey and be an enabler, in other words.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that genuinely, it's like you say, it's not just rhetoric either, it's evidenced. And that's the part that's impressed us the most. I think, over the 12 months or so that we've been working with Zoom so far, I think that approach is evident. It's evident, in everything that gets launched and delivered. It's not an afterthought. It's not been thrown in. Actually, everything's been really well thought through. So I guess sort of bringing on to the first point there around the feature launches. So look, again, evidence of Zoom delivering what it promises, right? So a little earlier this year, as a Zoom CX partner here in the UK, we get a little bit of I guess foresight in terms of what's on the roadmap and what we can expect and when. And Zoom told us that we would have full omnichannel by the end of this year. So full omnichannel to be understood as adding the channels that weren't in the product, so email and social channels, because Zoom Contact Center, of course, already supports voice, SMS, chat, and video. Yeah. So basically, we had announced this week at Zoomtopia that social and email are now available and have been launched in Zoom Contact Center. So we have a full omnichannel product, which is exactly what was promised to us.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because we think about channels like email, still incredibly popular. Hospitality being a great example of that, where there's bookings, there's reservations, there's B2B types of conversations that happen over email. So it made sense for Zoom to address that gap. So even maybe in B2C, it could be maybe not as important, but certain areas it's a must-have. And interesting you talk about that, Matt, because we had the email beta up and running this week at UC Expo, and the amount of interest that we had off the back of that was incredible. And again, it's the beauty of it, back to your point on kind of design, is it follows the same principles as a messaging journey or even an inbound voice journey. The look, the feel, the outcomes that you're trying to achieve can all be defined within that one single interface, which is so powerful. Because we don't have to worry about that lower level stuff. What do I want to do? Well, I want to find out where the email's coming from. Is it a VIP? Can I do a data dip there? Yes, you can. Can I find out what I know about that customer's email address or the subject line? Can I send the VIPs one way and other customer segments another way and A/B test it? Yes. So, the fact that it's here now is just remarkable. And that's a channel that one wouldn't normally think you can be innovative with, but we've thought about it in such a smart way.
Agreed. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's the thing. I think like email probably did need a bit of a rethink, right? I mean, from a contact center perspective, it still remains pretty prevalent, as you say, especially in certain sectors. But email is traditionally very difficult to manage because it's an asynchronous channel. So actually, it can usually end up involving multiple different agents in the various interactions. There can be many days.
Where's your SLA?
Exactly. There can be many days that elapse between the initial contact and then the contact being resolved. And a lot of contact, like first contact resolution is one of those metrics that sort of determines the health of your contact center. And it's very difficult to achieve that with email. So I think what Zoom's done here is really smart and actually bringing email in almost into the 21st century, if you like, in the way that it's been delivered in ZCC, I think is a really great step forward. And I think clients will find a real benefit in sort of taking on email in that manner and being able to manage it within that single interface, as we said earlier on. Also exciting to hear that Zoom Contact Center is also now supporting WhatsApp as well. So the ability to create chat conversations with WhatsApp customers. We see huge use cases for this. You know, WhatsApp sort of traditionally had that sort of American flavor to it, but in the UK, it's pretty much ubiquitous now. I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't use WhatsApp, and it gets used extensively for all sorts of things, including business and customer service. So it's fantastic that Zoom Contact Center now supports that as well, because I see significant use cases for that with our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there's so many use cases there. And what Zoom again can do quite nicely here is you can almost be agnostic from a messaging channel. So I could say, for example, my chats that maybe start on a website or potentially within my mobile app via SDK, or potentially a WhatsApp message. We could treat them the same or treat them differently depending on what you're trying to achieve. But then again, it still opens up all those opportunities for automation. What we're trying to, obviously, the number one thing is what's my customer intent, followed by what do I know about the customer. So we can start having all that kind of treatment to the messaging channels, either as a whole or uniquely in their own individual context, which again has been incredibly well thought out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, you know, we're excited to start deploying these channels now into existing customers and speaking to potentially new customers about those as well. Because I think, like you say, the way that they've been considered and the way that Zoom has actually integrated and implemented these new channels into the product has been well thought through. And I think clients will be very impressed when they see what Zoom has done here. So we're looking forward to demoing it to more people and letting people get their hands on it and see what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's amazing because it actually is omni-channel, and I've deployed contact centers that claim they might be, and then you try and do something like take a messaging conversation to video or something like that, or upgrade a call, an inbound voice call to video using SMS. And you can actually do this on Zoom. And like as a CX person, I think it's remarkable because
Yeah, exactly.
it's net promoter score, it's first contact resolution, it's really looking at the problem and then understanding how the technology can help you deliver those outcomes, which is as a business guy, music to my ears.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I would refer to like CX done properly. You know,
Love that.
Look, CX is one of the most complex things to deliver, but it's also one of the most impactful things you can do if you do it well. And I think what Zoom is doing really well here is empowering customers to deliver. And yeah, that makes us excited as a partner, as an integration partner, an implementation partner for us. Actually having technology at our disposal that enables us to deliver this for our clients is super exciting. So, you know, it's exactly where we want to be as well. So yeah, very, very exciting. So yeah, next one then. So another gap in the product, if you want to call it a gap in the product that we were promised we would have this year, is the outbound dialer, which has also been announced at Zoomtopia. So again, amazing pace of delivery, and you know, a much needed feature, I think, in contact center, not for every sector, but certainly, you know, number of sectors, including public sector, and you know, sort of B2C selling organizations. These sort of automated dialers are very, very important part of the contact center. So super excited to see that part of Zoom Contact Center now.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant you brought that up. Do you know what I love about it? It sounds a bit geeky, kind of. So excuse me, I'll put my kind of Geek Fest hat on for a moment. The beauty of it is, having seen this developed, and I must call out the amazing product and engineering team here. They used a component of Zoom Contact Center that some customers might have already seen, which is called Campaign Manager. And Campaign Manager has traditionally been used to manage like your web, your messaging SDK, embedded SDK types of campaigns, that kind of thing. But it's been thought out that this Campaign Manager software component can also be used to manage outbound voice dialer campaigns at the same time. And I think it's genius.
Yeah.
So we can look at like the address book or the contact list that your dialer list that you're loading in, and then just, I don't know, the thought that's gone behind it, Matt, I think is remarkable, because you could just put on well, this is the dialer, and you have to learn something else. When in fact you don't have to learn anything else. It's incredible.
I agree. And again, doesn't that just speak to that clarity of thought that we were talking about before when it comes to the way that Zoom is developing this product and architecting it? I think, you know, you would generally expect to be buying some sort of add-on that, you know, you need a separate widget for, or, you know, it needs to do some funky thing with having, you know, a separate SIP trunk running, or, you know, there's all sorts of weird and wonderful things that you tend to see in this space. But yeah, with Zoom, as with everything else, it's simple and it just works, right? And it's been leveraged within an existing admin option, existing component within Zoom Contact Center. So they've not just added something for adding its sake. They've enhanced what was already there and made it available for outbound voice, which again I think is super clever and a really smart way of handling it.
Yeah, I was so lucky to be part of some of those conversations in the UX design piece, and the UX is so lovely. It actually kind of the UX takes you on. It sounds ridiculous, but the UX actually takes you on the journey of building the campaign out and understanding whether you're going to the dialer operation and you do not call lists and all these things that normally it's like where do I go? And people think it's empowering business people to be able to do this, which I think is just wonderful.
Yeah, completely agree. Well, I think on the same topic in terms of empowering businesses to improve, to make the right decisions, to be able to keep pushing the envelope when it comes to the way that they deliver CX and EX within their organizations. I think we were also really excited this week to see the developments in the WFEM and quality management spaces. And again, I know we've probably said it 100 times in this chat already in the 10 minutes or so we've been talking, but actually, again, this is being delivered from a single application. This is being delivered from a single point of administration. And obviously, WFEM was already general available in the UK prior to Zoomtopia, but now quality management has been sort of taken out of beta and launched as well. And actually, there's some really smart things going on here, right? In terms of the way that WFEM has been developed. Really lovely UI again, by the way. But also really, really excited to see the quality management side of things and the way that the scorecards work and the way that actually AI that underpins it is driving a lot of the decisions and making things easier for people to understand what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And it was activated on the Zoom Contact Center Specialist Sandbox the other week was the whole sentiment piece as well. And literally it took about 3 clicks to turn on. So what agents, what queues, and then you build a scorecard. So, and obviously my background again is financial services, right? So QM is so important. If we're regulated businesses, let's face it, we need to know that if you are doing an advisory service, are you saying the right things to your customers? And that's above and beyond any of the sentiment side of things.
Yeah.
And the scorecard approach that you can get here, and the fact that it's almost like repurposed technology that's existed within Zoom meetings, where we can take transcription and those translation services and then take those events and do something with them. It's amazing because it's again that kind of component-based approach to software delivery, which is so powerful. So it's technology that's already being used in different parts of the Zoom product family, if you will, but looking at use cases of where it makes sense within CX.
Yeah, it's basically the closest thing to proven innovation that you'll ever have.
Yes.
and proven innovation sort of is a bit of a contradiction in terms, right? But actually what Zoom is doing here is continuing to innovate at the front end of the product by utilizing technology that's already been tried and tested in other parts of the platform. And I think that's really smart. And actually that probably leads us neatly on to the sort of next little section that I wanted to talk around, which is about sort of Zoom's approach to AI. And I think, what I've seen this year certainly is that Zoom has really wrapped around AI, right? So actually it has understood the use cases and understood the potential benefits of AI to everything that Zoom does, whether it's meetings, team chat, phone, contact center, etc., whiteboards, you name it, all the different products that are now part of this amazing platform. But what we've been really impressed with is the pace at which Zoom has actually managed to, I guess, leverage that AI in ways that we're not seeing from other providers right now. And so I think obviously that sort of what we're calling like galloping ahead with AI, we're really seeing that from Zoom. And I think evidenced also by the new platform graphic that was launched this week, which looks like a game controller.
Joy-Con, yes.
So the Zoom wheel has gone now, and we've got a platform controller. But all the way around the edges is the infusion of AI, and it's all sort of AI enabled, AI empowered, AI infused, and that's not just some words on paper, by the way. And it genuinely is. AI is running all the way through the Zoom platform, and actually it's doing some very clever things. So first one then, Zoom AI Companion. Yeah, so we already know about AI Companion. It was launched about a month ago, I think, publicly. So we've already seen AI Companion in meetings and team chat. In fact, I wrote a blog article about AI Companion about 3 weeks ago. Just to actually, I used the phrase that I'm amused by it. And then I realized that the word amused potentially doesn't have positive connotations. It can sometimes mean something negative. But so I used my blog article to explain why it was indeed the right word to use, but I actually meant it in a good way. I'm amused by how good it is what I'm getting at. And so AI Companion in meetings, for example, provides us with summaries of the conversation. So if you join a meeting late, we can click the button and it'll show you what you missed. Yeah. It'll also show you where you were mentioned as well, which is really cool, right? So if they've been talking about you before you joined, you can find out, which I also like. I use that with my co-founders a few times, actually, when I've left calls early.
Brilliant.
I know what they've been saying about me. Yeah, and also it's also supporting something called Smart Chapters, which I think is really cool. So it's able to take the entire conversation and it understands where a topic begins and ends, and then it can put them into nice headings and it formats it really nicely for you, and sends that out. So we were super impressed with AI Companion when it first came out. So imagine how excited I was to hear this week that AI Companion's coming to Zoom Contact Center. And I think this is a bit of a game changer, right? And one of the main reasons it's a bit of a game changer is because Zoom is offering AI Companion to Zoom Contact Center customers included in the license fee. So no additional cost for AI Companion. Now, if that's not disruptive, I don't know what is. And actually, when you look at the capabilities that you are getting essentially free of charge, right? You're not paying any transaction fees for this. You're not paying any additional license, no uplift on the license cost. Basically, it's providing live transcription. It's providing interaction summaries. It's providing live sentiment. And what's also really cool about it, which I saw this week, and because I'm a little bit of a tech geek as well, I enjoy the techie side of things and I enjoy the usability. There's also a brand new supervisor dashboard, which is being powered by AI Companion. That means when a supervisor goes and looks at all the live interactions in the contact center or within their team at this moment in time, they're getting real-time sentiment within that dashboard. They're getting intent, so they know what the call or the chat or the email is about, and they can also access the conversation summary. So, I mean, talk about take real-time monitoring to the next level, right? I mean, that's just really cool.
Yeah, I'm really glad you talked about this, because when we talk about Zoom Contact Center, we talk about three kind of key themes: productivity, care, and innovation. And you can see that above my head here, care is actually a core Zoom value anyway. And if you look at the use cases that you talk about with respect to the AI Companion within Zoom Contact Center, we're doing all three of those because we can manage, the agent assist type of technology, your productivity piece. We can do care, because not only is sentiment important to understand what's happening, but if I've got a hybrid workforce, remote agents, and people are having difficult days, and we can get dashboards on that, supervisors can reach out, they can see that happening in real time and keep people connected and part of that wider contact center family, which is so important in running these types of hybrid operations going forward now as well. And then back to exactly what you've been saying, Matt, it's the innovation that allows us to do that, and the thought about the use cases of this technology. How do I want to manage my customers? I want to ensure my customers get first contact resolution, accurate, relevant information, the knowledge-based piece that we can dig into as well. And also care about the people who are giving that customer service, my agents, my supervisors, my teams. So productivity, care, innovation, all day long. It's real life, it's happening. And that's these foundation pillars of why we're on this CX journey from a Zoom perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's like I say, one of the things that really impresses us about Zoom and continues to impress us about Zoom is that actually these are not just words on paper. You know, anybody can talk about AI and how they're using generative AI and how their platform is underpinned by generative AI. You know, and you know, we can all talk about that, right? But actually, with Zoom, it's true, genuinely. When you actually look,
I was a buyer.
exactly.
And I work for Zoom, and the stuff that I looked for as a buyer and as a CX buyer is actually true. You know, I mean, that should be the default, not like the exception.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. And look, what wasn't contact center crying out for this? You know, when you look at the contact center space, yes, there are some great solutions out there. Don't get me wrong. Look, there's lots of very good, strong platforms in the market, but actually, wasn't contact center crying out for some real life AI, not like theoretical AI where you make some little transactional journeys and then you pretend that you've kind of nailed AI and that you've got it right. Actually, this is what AI is about, isn't it? AI should be about assisting and improving. It shouldn't just be about deflection and containment, for example. AI has a place in deflection and containment, but actually, you know, we're doing AI a disservice if that's all we're doing with it in contact centers. So I just think Zoom's nailing this part of it, and the you know, AI is always a bit of a horse race, right? But I feel like Zoom's winning it at the moment, which is really cool, and it's great to be a partner. So just on the AI side of things, there's a couple more things I wanted to touch on briefly.
Yeah, please do.
So the first one is what I'm going to refer to as like next best action, which is something, yeah, it's been around in contact centers for a while, at varying levels of intuitivity, if that's all right. Is that a word? Intuition, and varying levels of success in my experience. So this week, Zoom has announced AI Expert Assist, which is Zoom's solution for agent next action. And this is a generative AI solution to listen, adapt, present real-time outputs, guide agents down different routes, provide automated and streamlined workflows. And I think this is, again, another really well thought through feature launch. It's not just next best action for next best action's sake. What I really love about how this has been done, and again, I'm going to be a little bit techie because I do enjoy the tech and I enjoy the clarity of thought. This has been developed so that it's configured in Zoom Virtual Agent, right? Which is really clever because that means that if clients are already using Zoom Virtual Agent, for example, and they've set up intents and they've consumed knowledge bases and they've actually Zoom Virtual Agent has already indexed that content for them, then the content already exists to feed the agents on AI Expert Assist. So, I mean, again, is that it makes sense, right? When you think about it, you go, yeah, of course it would be in there. But actually, when we were wondering where that would be in the admin panel, I don't think any of us expected it to be in the same place as Virtual Agent because actually it just makes so much sense. But again, you know, it's that clarity of architecture and that clarity of thought that it's just about making things easier, isn't it?
But it's also, but on top of that, it's also making us think as kind of thought leaders and industry people about what the role of the contact center is going forward. And maybe we could do another session like this, Matt, that would be marvelous. Because what does it mean for my contact center and my contact center operations? It means that I can concentrate on building out quality knowledge articles, all the information that I need that may be applicable internally or externally or both, and then ensure that my AI engine, my Zoom Virtual Agent, my Zoom CX platform, if you will, has the latest version of those knowledge-based articles and trains itself against them. So it doesn't matter if I'm serving via automation within the messaging channel, if I'm having a conversation with a customer on a call within the contact center, that same knowledge repository is relevant with the AI predefined in actions or next best actions against them. It's remarkable.
Yeah,
it's really well thought out. You're right. It's really, really well thought out. So as a business person, what does it mean for me? It means that I can focus on that knowledge base. I can focus on the accurate information, focus on the metrics like first contact resolution, or if I'm, for example, if I'm regulated in the regulated business, you know, some of the KPIs that I need to match and show evidence against. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely. And guess what? You only need to configure it once. I'll tell you what, and if you think about the potential outcome of that one-time configuration, whether it's actually providing a combination of AI-driven journeys to your customers, whether that's for, self-service or contact deflection or whatever the specific use cases are that clients are looking for there, or whether it's to provide real-time AI-driven assistance to agents to drive first contact resolution, improved conversations, better quality, better compliance, and frankly, just better quality CX all around, right? But the beauty of this, of course, as well, is that Zoom's other massive area outside of CX is EX, right? And actually, the whole Zoom platform is built around these two concepts, EX and CX. And actually, if you look at the EX side of things as well, this is all about it's about respecting your agents. I think contact centers are often high volume environments that they can often be a challenge to work in. Let's face it. Look, we've worked in and with contact centers for a long time, so we've seen them in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And sometimes they can be tough environments because agents are dealing with complaints all day. I mean, if you sit there dealing with complaints all day, it's going to have an impact on your mental health, isn't it? Actually, and because agents continue to work hybrid and more remote, sometimes you need some AI assistance to keep your chin up, to make things easier for you.
Yeah.
And I think this is really cool as well, where Expert Assist can help agents by giving them the information they need to resolve inquiries, but it's also capable of calling out to supervisors, maybe when things aren't going as well as they could be, or maybe if an agent's sentiment is a bit low and has been on a few calls. Actually, supervisors can really dig in and understand how their people are feeling as well. And I think that's probably a forgotten about use case a lot of the time with AI in contact centers. But I feel quite passionately about it because I think actually, if you're leveraging this in the right way, not only is it great for your customers, it should be great for your agents as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's back to this care, one of the foundation, Zoom values, even before Zoom CX had even been thought about. Eric Yuan always founded this firm on a culture of care. And it's interesting that you say that, because you can build the best CX journeys, the most intricate flows, the most coolest API calls and data dips. But if those interactions, those messages or those calls or those video interactions go to agents that don't have the information, that aren't particularly feeling motivated, it's almost like you almost like that last mile, you're stumbling on the last mile. Yeah. So let's take the last mile, the CX and the EX, and it's that total experience piece. And you're going to see a lot more from Zoom in that space, but it's so exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And yeah, I think a lot of that's been teased this week at Zoomtopia as well.
Excellent.
I'll tell you what, the weather was an unbelievable amount better than it is right here in the UK today as well. So I'm feeling a bit blue, having returned back yesterday, but it was a fantastic week. So yeah, well, I think look, there was a lot more, right? I mean, we've scratched the surface of what was announced at Zoomtopia. And we've not even talked about the other areas outside of CX, but let's keep this one to a CX focused conversation for the time being. It's the area that interests both of us the most, clearly. So yeah, obviously there's loads more to talk about, but maybe we do a follow up in another video so that we don't try to keep people too long on this one. What do you think?
And just to kind of close, from an Acceleraate point of view, obviously you've come on board the Zoom platform now, and it's just so brilliant that you're full accredited and everything. How do people contact you? How do people engage with Acceleraate to kind of bring these types of conversations and journeys to life?
Yeah, well, multiple ways, to be honest. But if people go to acceleraate.com and pop onto our website, there's multiple ways to contact us. Alternatively, you can contact us at transform@acceleraate.com by email, or even find me on LinkedIn, Matt Cowell. You'll find me if you search. So yeah, we're always up for having a conversation, not just about tech, but also about CX in general. We've got a lot of experience, a lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions, as you probably heard some of them today as well, in how we see the world. But obviously, what the Zoom platform is enabling us to do with our clients is provide genuine innovation as I see it. So a lot of what we would love to be able to do for clients in the past has not been possible because of technical limitations with, from a variety of different platforms. What Zoom is giving us here is the ability to join all of this up. And I know from speaking to clients on a regular basis that consolidation of platforms and consolidation of SaaS tools and other, products and backends and all these different things that you find in contact centers is a high priority, but also the the responsible adoption of AI is also a huge priority for contact centers as well. So I think what Zoom gives us is the ability to deliver and the ability to have really sensible conversations with clients about what this looks like. So yeah, look forward to having many more of those conversations over the coming months, and let's get Zoom Contact Center out there even more so than it already is.
Brilliant. Well, it's been great to talk to you today, Matt. Really appreciate it, and such an energizing conversation. Hope you helped you over the jet lag a little bit, I guess, today.
Yeah, I haven't quite hit the wall yet, but we will see what happens later on. But no, thank you as well, James. Much appreciated. Yeah, always great to chat CX with you. So look forward to catching up again soon.
Definitely.